Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. New tournament. For us today, we've got the Winston Salem. Bit of a warm down before we head on over to the US Open at the end of the month. But as always, we will be sure to touch on each and every one of these matches that we've got for today. Quick reminder, it is the first round once again. Same as always, rule applies. You know how we deal with these. You've got to see who wants to be here and who doesn't, and more importantly, who deserves to be here and who doesn't. So if you are having a go over the next 2 days, keep it simple, keep it sweet, don't be doing nothing crazy. But now that's out the way, before we get started, I'll ask you to like the video. If you'd be so kind, I'll also ask you to subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, we continue to grow each and every day, and we did manage to get 2.5k subscribers last night. Very happy about that. Very happy, super grateful for each and every one of you. You know that I am. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Hey, that's it. It's madness. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it, man. Honest to God, we're ticking along rather nicely. The growth is very sweet. Most definitely a couple of improvements that could be made to the channel, and will definitely end up being made as well. I can guarantee you that. But for now, we just keep doing our thing, going at our own pace. We'll most definitely be exactly where we want to be sooner than later. But thanks, folks. I appreciate you. You know that I do. But let's get it on. Let's get straight to business. Right, first off, for us today, we've got Sebastian Ofner and Kopriva. The first of many tough ones. For us today, this really is looking like a proper first round, if you'd ask me. Getting Sebastian Ofner around 1.6. Given the current form of the Austrian, I don't really know how I feel about that. Kopriva, 2.4, we can call it 2.4. Ain't really much of a hardcore player, if we're being honest. But with that being said, 10-7 on the surface compared to 0-2 for Sebastian Ofner. Those two games coming in the recent Masters, Cincinnati and Toronto. One against the Pelcher, one against Valentin Royer. He did lose both of them, but they were kind of close. They were close. For what it's worth, both of them did go over the total for today, which is 22.5 on the game. Spread is 2.5. So that's just food for thought. He's currently on a 5-game losing streak. That's not too great. 3 of his last 10, that's dating back to mid-June. You know, Kopriva, he ain't been too good either. If anything, he's been worse since we've come back to the hard court. Got beat by Boo in straight sets, tie-break, and then 6-2. And then the one for me, this is just a glaring red flag. He played Daniel Galan in the first round in Cincinnati and got absolutely slapped up by him. 6-2, 6-4. That I couldn't tell you. I haven't got many words for that. Don't know how I feel about it. But I'm sure I don't like it. I do not like what I've seen there. Just, look, given the form of Sebastian Ofner, it looks like anyone can beat him at the moment. It really does. But those recent two from Kopriva, there's nothing promising about that whatsoever. Sebastian Ofner definitely does need a win. Given what we know, you know, the way he can play, the way he can serve, just his overall game, I would have thought Sebastian Ofner would have been rather nicely suited to the quick surfaces and the hard courts, but apparently not. Usually always preferred the clay. Same goes for Kopriva. Although, you know, he has went 10-7 on the surface this year. I don't know how much I can read into that. You know, out of the 17 matches, only 4 have been on what we would call tour level. You know, and then the rest have all been on the Challenger Tour, and not many are going over that total of 22.5. As a matter of fact, if I just consult me notes, 3 out of the 4 on the main draw, well, tour level, they were qualifying, went under the 22.5, and then only 4 out of the 13 matches on the Challenger Tour went over the 22.5. A lot of unders. Same with Sebastian Ofner, a lot of straight sets. The one that's jumping out to me here is under 2.5 sets. Since we've come back to the hard court, neither one has managed to take a set, although I do think Sebastian Ofner has looked the more capable of the two. Probably not going to get the greatest odds for him to win one set. Food for thought, under 2.5 sets. Do you think this is going to be a long one? I can't see it. I can't see it. But then again, one could make the argument, if someone either one wins the first set, do they have the mental capacity to maintain the level and see it out in straights? One could say that. I don't know. I think both of them are just having nightmares at the moment. Both of them are in the mud. They've played each other twice before, once on the grass, once on the clay, not for a few years. Would have been nice to see what would have happened if they would have met each other on the hard court, but I suppose we will definitely find out in this one today. I was thinking Kopriva for a set, but not after what I've seen against Daniel Galan. Absolutely not. Not a 6-2 and a 6-4. Sebastian Ofner, providing he can turn up, he can serve well. If he can serve well and hold his nerve, I think Kopriva may just do the rest for him. Just may. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Under 2.5 sets. Either one of these in 2. I am not too sure what we're in for with that one today, if I'm being honest with you. It's the first round. Just got to see who deserves to be here and who doesn't. You know what I say. And then next up, we've got Van der Sandschulp, Adam Walton. I suppose I would be leaning more towards Adam Walton in this one, folks, if I'm being honest with you. You know, we're going off the hard court and hard court alone, which is pretty much all we have to go off. With Adam Walton, 30 wins, 17 losses. Van der Sandschulp, 7-6 on the season. A lot more promising from Adam Walton. Now, a lot of that towards the start of the season. Apart from, I think it was Miami. I remember him playing good. And one of them, I can't remember. I'll double check for you now. I'm pretty sure it was Miami. Most of it's come by way of the Challenger Tour. Up until pretty much recently. I've got it here. Indian Wells now. Yeah, he had a decent one over in Miami. He got beat by Taylor Fritz in the round of 16. And then pretty much since that, it's been Challenger Tour or nothing. We have returned to the hard court. He played very well indeed, over in Mexico. Got beat in the semi-finals by El Chapo, rather. 1-1 over in Toronto. Very close game with Alexander Zverev. I was rather impressed with that. And then he went 2-1 in Cincinnati. Had yet again a very close game with Jarry beat Daniel Medvedev as well. Happy days. Do we think we're currently seeing the best tennis from Adam Walton since we've returned to the hard court? I think so. I think it'd be fair to say that all of the last 5 matches as well, they've all went over that 22.5. Every one of them. Doesn't necessarily mean this one's going to go over, but Adam Walton's been a tough nut to crack. He's hard to break, hard to beat, and if you can beat Medvedev, I'd like to think you can beat Botic Van der Sandschulp. Like I say, very close game. Alexander Zverev, very close one with Lehechka. He's having good matches. He's proven to be rather difficult to beat since we've come back to the surface. Van der Sandschulp. Last time I done a bit of business with this guy was over in Kitzbühel, and he was decent on the clay. Got beat by Alexander Bublik. He played a couple of challenger matches in between. Now Van der Sandschulp did opt. This guy did opt to remain on the clay. Is yet to come back to the hard court. This will be the transitional match for him. I don't know if I can trust it. I never can trust Van der Sandschulp. You know, yeah. This guy beat Djokovic over at Indian Wells. Anyone remember that? This guy literally beat Djokovic on the hard court earlier on in the season, and yet I'm sitting here wondering if he's going to struggle against Adam Walton. It's just a funny old game. It's funny how it works. I suppose I would have to just lean towards Adam Walton in this one. I'd kind of have to, based on what we've seen so far, even just overall on the hard court, and especially as of late over in the last 2 Masters. I think he can most definitely beat Van der Sandschulp. If you can have a good go against Zverev, Lehechka, take out Medvedev, you should be able to get this one done against the Dutchman, in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes. And then next up, we've got Kamil Majchrzak, Nicholas Jarry. What are these matches, eh? What are they doing to us today? We've got to get through this first round. The second round will be a lot more promising. It'll definitely start to heat up come the second round. We've got a couple of decent seeds in this. But for now, we've got Kamil Majchrzak. Nicholas Jarry. No one really knows what to do with this one. You can kind of get either one as a favourite. Call it split down the middle. Kamil Majchrzak has just won a title over on the Challenger Tour in Poland on the hard court, and he played very well. He played very well indeed, coming into the Winston Salem, riding off the back of that. Decent momentum, good form. Nice. Surely it's what you'd want to see, providing you fancy the piece of the pole in today's match. Nicholas Jarry is on a 3-game losing streak. Only played the 1 game since we come back to the hard court. And, I mean, look, I'm not going to go on about it too much, but he ended up getting beat by Pedro Martinez in Cincinnati. Now, you take from that what you will. Quite frankly, I don't like that. That is yet another red flag for me. But I suppose it comes as no surprise. Nicholas Jarry has been in quite bad form all season. He found what he was looking for over on the grass. He was really good over in Wimbledon, but now we're not in Wimbledon anymore. 2-game losing streak since we've come off of Wimbledon. He got beat by Cam Norrie in the round of 16. But the story does remain the same for Nicholas Jarry. I mean, win or lose, mainly through the losses. It's not through lack of trying. He's usually good for a set. I remember taking him for a set against Van der Sandschulp in Kitzbühel, and I quite frankly wish that I didn't. But it come in, just about. And he did take one off Pedro Martinez. Probably should have beat him. Shouldn't be getting beat like that on the hard court by Pedro Martinez. Do I trust Kamil Majchrzak to get this one done? Say 13-3 on the hard court. That's alright. That looks good on paper. Not a single one of those wins have come in the main draw, by the way. Not a single one of those wins have come in the main draw. It's either been Challenger Tours or qualifying. Don't know, what have I got written down for this? I don't even think I've got anything written down for this. I've got Kamil Majchrzak, Nicholas Jarry. Absolute fucking nightmare. Yeah, honest to God. Nicholas Jarry's went 2-3 on the hard court since the start of the season, man. That's it. How can you go with that? How can this really is just a guess, innit? You're just guessing if Nicholas Jarry's going to turn up and look anything like what we know he can play. Providing he turns up and he plays his best, which there's nothing to suggest he's going to do that. But I'd quite fancy Nicholas Jarry to beat Kamil Majchrzak. As a matter of fact, if this was any other season, anywhere else, you probably would have said the same. Given how bad Nicholas Jarry has been so far this season, especially on the hard court, and given the current form and the momentum of Kamil Majchrzak. Majchrzak is ranked higher than him as well. These odds are split right down the middle. You are more than aware, just as I am, that Nicholas Jarry could pull off the upset in this one, even though it's pretty much a coin flip. I wouldn't mind him just for a set. I don't think I'd take it. I don't fancy giving myself fucking heart palpitations watching that one tomorrow, sweating it, but Jarry for a set, he should be good enough to deal with Kamil Majchrzak. I haven't watched this guy since the remember he played Ignacio Busta on the clay, and he smoked him in the first set, and then he just lost the worst match ever, didn't he? He lost in the worst way. I haven't really paid much attention to him after that, but now he's back, riding off the back of a title. Maybe he'll fancy himself in this one against the bang out of form Nicholas Jarry. If you can't beat Pedro Martinez, I figured you may struggle against someone who's actually in form over on the surface. So maybe Kamil Majchrzak at 1.9 would be an absolute steal come tomorrow. But I wouldn't be willing to roll the dice. I think Nicholas Jarry for a set may just be, dare I say, as safe as it gets. Maybe not safe, but I think I'd rather, if anything, just take either one for the set. You could just take Majchrzak for the set at that price, I suppose. Why the fuck not? But I ain't going to overthink it. I'm not going to waste too much of your time on that. We will move on to, speaking of Pedro Martinez, we've got David Goffin and Pedro Martinez. The suffering continues, don't it? I did say at the start, didn't I? We've got quite a few rough ones here. I mean, the whole day's pretty much rough. You ain't seen one quite like it for a while, especially with all the Masters and that we've had. We've really been treated as tennis fans the past couple of months, but this really is a 250, and you can tell. David Goffin. Pedro Martinez. Odds are identical as well, split right down the middle. Can't split these two. The current form of the pair of these, man. I mean, Pedro Martinez, 15 and 25. Not too great. But it is a hell of a lot better than 9 and 19 for David Goffin. In the defence of the Spaniard, we have seen Pedro Martinez suffer quite a bit with a couple of injuries, and he's struggled with his fitness throughout the season. So maybe that, well, it's not maybe, that most definitely plays a part in the results. David Goffin, it just seems, but comparing it to last season, 47 wins, 28 losses, that's what he finished the year on. We're halfway through August, he's won 9 games. The tennis just isn't working. The tennis, the game plan, the abilities, whatever it may be, I'm not so sure. It just isn't working for David Goffin this year. Doesn't matter where you take him. 4 and 4 on the clay, 5 and 10 hard court, 0 and 2 indoors, 0 and 3 on the grass. I don't know what it is with this guy. Is he gonna? Do you remember this? Do you remember we watched this? I remember this tournament last season. He got to the semi-finals as well, which is just a little bit of food for thought. Given what we've seen in past seasons, I am pretty much certain that David Goffin is a lot more suited to the hard court than the likes of Pedro Martinez. Absolutely, Martinez loves the clay. It's no secret to us. He's went 3 and 8 this year. 5 and 10 for Goffin on the surface. 3 and 8 for Martinez. 2 and 1 indoors. The only thing that could possibly sway me towards a decision in this is the fact that all I've seen from either of these two, more importantly since we've come back to the hard court, Pedro Martinez has got that win over Nicholas Jarry, as we've just mentioned in the last game. It's the only thing, and it's nothing. It's no basis whatsoever to make a decision on, but I've seen nothing from David Goffin. Can't even win a set. I think under 2.5 sets in this, either one of them to win it in 2. I really do. David Goffin got absolutely bullied by Sebastian Baez over in Cincinnati. That means whatever it means to you. 6-1, 6-3 by Sebastian Baez. It's not great. Won 1 match in his last 10. That's dating back to April. Martin Landelus over in Gstaad. Pedro Martinez ain't much better. He has won 4 of his last 10 going back to Mallorca. It's not a lot to go off. It's really not. I don't think a matchup like this is worth sweating. Certainly not worth overthinking. For the sake of a prediction on this one, Pedro Martinez for the set. Pedro Martinez for the set is all I have got to go off in that one, I'm afraid. So the next one is going to be Bu and Tseng. It's probably going to be a quick one, this. Getting Bu as a massive favourite today. Massive favourite, 1.25. I think that makes it the biggest favourite of the day. It does indeed. How do we feel about that? First and foremost, both of them are on a 2-game losing streak. I think since we've come back to the hard court, we've got a 3 and 7 return from Bu. That's right, 3 wins, 7 losses, 6 and 11 in total on the hard court. And then for Tseng, we've got 5 and 7 on the season, and 0 and 2 since we've come back. He got absolutely demolished by Christopher O'Connell over in Toronto in the first round. And as for Bu, he kind of got destroyed by Sonego over in Toronto as well. He played Joao Fonseca over in Cincinnati, took the first set, ended up losing the second and third, couldn't get that one done. Seen a bit more from him since we've come back, but then again, he's been in more tournaments, so that's it. Probably goes without saying, does it not? The wins haven't really been that good either. That fucking fella in Mexico, that Magadan, David Goffin in Washington. Just been talking about David Goffin. And then Kopriva in Toronto, straight sets. With him being such a big favourite in this, I would assume Bu's going to win anyway. I think just based on what I know and based on what I've seen, when he can turn up, he's really good on the hard court when he wants to be. He's kind of struggling. Been struggling all year. It's not new. 14 wins, 24 losses. That's a bit disappointing. He had 51 and 27 last year, Hasn't quite managed to replicate what he was doing last season. Tseng's went 27 and 26. Majority of it on the clay. pretty much residing in and around the Challenger Tour. 5-7 on the hard courts, not too great. Who's he beat? Let's just check. Matteo Bellucci, Darwin Blanche, Maurice Canyas. Yeah, not much. Not a lot to write home about. One win on the main draw. That was against the Italian Matteo Bellucci back in Miami. I would have to assume Bu is going to win this game. Win or lose, the majority of these matches for Bu, the straight sets. As a matter of fact, let me just consult my notes once again. 15 of the last 17 have went under 2.5 sets for Bu. That's right. Could just turn up. I mean, looking at the odds, you would imagine them. If you're taking them at 1.25, you probably want them and expect them. You best add. If I was taking them at 1.5, you better I'd turn up and win this one in straight sets as well. That's what I'd be needing. I don't think I could go anywhere near this, especially not at that price. Bu, given the form that he's been in all season. Alright, Tseng's probably... Well, Bu's probably a bit of a step up compared to Tseng. I think it's probably fair to admit that. Although the overall record on the season would suggest otherwise. I don't think Bu should be 1.25. Absolutely not. Can't help but disagree with that. That doesn't mean I'm just going to take the dog for the sake of disliking the favourite. I do believe Bu should get that one done, but I don't really know what there is to be done about that one. Probably the under 2.5 sets, see what the price is like on that. And then we'll move on to... I'm looking forward to this. We've got Hamad Medjedovic and Artur Rinderknech. This could be a good one. This could be an absolute snooze fest as well, by the way, but I'm expecting it to be a decent competitive game. They've never played each other before. Look, spread's 2.5. Total is 22.5. The one thing that is jumping out to me, Hamad Medjedovic, 1.4. That's quite a big favourite. I don't know what I expected exactly, but I think 1.4 may just be a little bit steep. It may just be a little bit steep. As a matter of fact, he hasn't won a game as a favourite like at that price since Juan Manuel Cerundolo over in the French Open. Yeah, kinda on the fence with the price about that. We'll talk about it anyway. We'll see what we can do. He's played 3 games as Hamad Medjedovic since we've come back to the hard court. He's went 2-1. All 3 of them coming in straight sets as well. Kovacevic, Italian Greek sport, and then ran into Carlos Alcaraz over in Cincinnati. Artur Rinderknech has went 2-2. Is there? He's went 2-2 since we've come back to the hard court, getting it done against Nuno Borges, and Casper Ruud got beat by Felix Auger-Aliassime, and then, well, the first one he got beat by Alex Galano over in Toronto. What have I written down for this one? I had something written down for this. I think it was mainly to do with the price, to be honest with you, the 1.4. I'm not saying Medjedovic doesn't really function well as a big favourite, but I suppose one could probably say that if you read into it a little bit. 3-2 on the hard court this season. That's not too good. Not too good. He was absolutely flying indoors at the start of the year. Got himself a title to start the season. And then he was good in Marseille as well. Got to the final in Marseille. Ended up getting beat by Hugo Humbert. That was a close game. But then, since we've come outdoors, he beat Tsitsipas. He was a dog in that one. He was supposed to play Felix in Doha. He had to pull out. Came up against Dinky in Miami at the exact same price as what he is today. And he got fucking smoked. Yeah. Madness. Absolute madness. Kind of potted his way around the clay season. Kind of won a few games on the clay at a favourite at this price. And then, you know, it's kind of just hit and miss throughout the clay and the grass. We come back to the hard court. They were kind of split down the middle the first 2 games over in Cincinnati, and then he was a massive dog against Alcaraz. Didn't really stand much of a chance at winning that one. But he is a big favourite in this. Artur Rinderknech, you know, he went 2-1. 2-1 last week in the Masters, operating as a dog. He's not a bad dog either. He can serve well. He can be very, very tough to deal with. It was a shame. The only thing putting me off this, and it's maybe this is why the price is the way it is, he did have to pull out in that last match against Felix Auger-Aliassime. It's a shame. It would have been nice to see if he could have held out in that one. But having to pull out and then having a few days off coming up against Hamad Medjedovic, who I imagine is going to be fresh to go right out the box, that could be concerning. That could be concerning. That could have a lot to do with why Medjedovic is 1.4 today. Doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with the 1.4. I don't think I'd fancy taking it. It could be a close one. If Rinderknech is fit, the two of these are really strong, really big saves. Could be a close one. It could just be a bit of a shootout. One could potentially say Hamad Medjedovic is just a better version, a younger, better, fitter version of Artur Rinderknech. I think he saves hard. He definitely saves harder than him. Definitely does. Even though that's not saying Artur Rinderknech has got a shit save, because his is an absolute belter as well. But I do think Medjedovic hits harder. He's more nimble, even though there's been times where it looks like he's been made out of pottery clay. But he's definitely more agile. He's deceivingly nimble for a lad his size. I would like to see him win. I would like to assume Medjedovic is going to get this one done. But it's kind of killing me off, because at 1.4 it's put me right off going for it. If the price was right, I would have been all over this match, folks. You know me. But I don't think I've got anything for that as far as a bet. 1.4. If you want to take Medjedovic at 1.4, then be my Christopher guest. But I don't think I could force myself upon that, with it being the first round. And also, you do with that what you will. I'd expect Medjedovic to get it done. Based on what we've seen, Rinderknech's a couple of concerns regarding the fitness of the Frenchman, so maybe you'd be okay with Medjedovic tomorrow in that one. And then we've got two more. We've got Nishioka and Carreno Busta. I think I would have to go with Carreno Busta in this one, you know. Do we remember this time last year? We were watching Carreno Busta and we were taking him all the way up into the semi-finals. He was fantastic over in the Winston Salem. I would love nothing more to see a little bit of the same. Am I expecting a repeat run of last year? Maybe not. But we shall see. It most definitely suited the way he played last year, I'll tell you that. And not only that, he's coming up against Nishioka. Probably the most out of form player we've got at the moment. 10 wins, 15 losses all year. 6 and 8 on the hard court, not bad. Well, it's bad, but it's not as bad as what you would think. He can play on the hard court. Honestly, he's no joke on the hard court. We'll say that. He's really struggled with fitness. He's struggling with whatever. Couple things. You know, there's a few variables in this one. But he's won one in his last 10. That's dating back to the end of May in the French Open. Jensen Brooksby, a couple of weeks ago, over in Washington. It was a close game, but I fear that may not be enough to sway me in this one. Odds are split right down the middle, which is a little bit... No, it's interesting, it's intriguing, but given what we know, and given what we've seen, even if Nishioka manages to make it through matches, which he's been doing that more and more lately, you know, he's been managing to hold up and see them out, but he ain't been winning. Man. He's been beaten straight sets in his last 4. Flavio Caboli, Ethan Quinn, Terence Atman, and then Shimbakoro. Dropped back down to the Challenger Tour. He should play the match on the Challenger Tour after the exit in Cincinnati. Not quite going his way, to say the least. I mean, Carreno Busta, the form of him, this guy's form's not much to write home about. 4 in his last 10 isn't that great. Safe to say, I don't think Carreno Busta is half the man he used to be. 2-game losing streak, Artifice in Toronto, and then Leandro Reedy in the first round of qualifying for Cincinnati. Yeah, that was straight sets as well. That's not really what I wanted to see, providing I was having a go on the Spaniard today. Both of them are in bad form. I just think Nishioka's in worse form. Nishioka is in such bad form. He's in the mud at the moment. They've played each other once before. That was back in 2018. It's kind of irrelevant now. Carreno Busta, 24-19 on the season, 14-7 on the hard court. I feel like the majority of signs are pointing towards the Spaniard in this one. And you know, at that price, if you want to just play it safe, if you could call it that, in a matchup such as this, I'd just take Carreno Busta for a set. He ain't looked too great in his last 2 games. I mean, I didn't expect him to beat Artifice. Leandro Reedy, I mean, that is most definitely a winnable game. He did drop a tiebreak in the first and then ended up getting beat 6-4, so maybe when he dropped the tiebreak, he kind of just took it out of him. He ain't no spring chicken anymore. Like I said, half the man he used to be. It's a shame to say, but it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. but I most definitely couldn't back Nishioka. Whatever argument you could make for putting yourself off Carreno Busta, you could make the exact same, if not 10 times more, for Nishioka. No trust whatsoever. There's just been nothing, has there? It's not just me, is it? There's not just me. I mean, 1 in your last 10, there's nothing to suggest that you're going to turn up and do pretty much anything in this. One of them's got to win. One of them has to win, but I don't know. Wins have been very hard to come by for Nishioka this season, so I would have to go with Carreno Busta, at least for a set. The odds for Nishioka to just turn up and win in straight sets now, when he hasn't done that for fuck knows how long, I don't know. I'd be willing to go against that. And say he drops at least 1 set today against the Spaniard. And then we'll wrap this shit up with McDonald and Brandon Holt. Ain't got too much to say on this one, especially with McDonald being 1.25. Oh, maybe Boo isn't the biggest favourite on the day. He shares the title of big favourite with McDonald. That's right, these have played each other once before, earlier on this season in the Australian Open in qualifying. McDonald got that one done in straight sets, 6-4, 6-4. I mean, we touched on this in one of the previous tournaments. The hardcourt record of Brandon Holt is quite impressive on paper. 29-12 is fairly decent. Safe to say this guy most definitely resides within the realms of the Challenger Tour. You know, doesn't really do much at tour level. But then, I mean, McDonald, just as you say that, they're ranked fairly close with each other. McDonald 95 in the world, Brandon Holt 106. I've just seen more. I think McDonald's just a bit more proven to me, especially at tour level. He's fairly decent. He possesses a fairly decent game. Not one of the best. You know, he's no Taylor Fritz or Ben Shelton by any means, but I think he's the better of the American in this one. We'll just say that. Right? I feel like out of the two that we've got, he should be the better of the two. Simple as that. It's kind of proven it at the start of the season. Brandon Holt, 2-game losing streak. So is McDonald, but I just think the calibre of opponent that he's used to taking on is a lot higher than that of Brandon Holt. And we may see Brandon Holt a lot more as the seasons go on. You know, he may sort of shoot up them rankings. We don't know, but as of right now, I don't know. I think McDonald may just be a little bit more seasoned than I've been playing since 2009. You know, I think the experience of McDonald and just the overall consistency of his game when he can get it off, we'll see him through in this one. 1.25, absolutely not. I would not be doing any business with that. But then again, I don't think I could touch Brandon Holt either which way in this one. It would have to be McDonald or nothing as the smallest of parlay pieces. Not a lot. First day, first round. It's a rough one, folks, but we go every day. We've got to do it. We've got to talk about them. Well, folks, that will do us for tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you watching the show. Like and subscribe before you go. I'd appreciate that too. No more night shifts for me, at least for a few days. Just going to chill, watch this UFC tonight. Looking forward to it. Let me know if you catch the video early, that is. I mean, who do you think's going to win? Chimaev, Duplessis. Chimaev, massive favourite. It's kind of hard to look away from him at this point, right? I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I do think Venom Page gets it done, though. I can't wait to watch a bit of MVP. You know that. But you take it easy. I'll be saying good night to you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. It's the most important thing. Let me know what you're going for in the comments. Anything I'm going for will be in the pinned comment. Get yourself involved. Share with the group. Best of luck to each and every one of you. And I'll be seeing you. See you in a bit, folks. Enjoy the matches today. See you tomorrow.